Happy... What day is it today? Today's Thursday. Wait a minute. I recorded... Okay, well, happy Thursday, everyone. 76 degrees. I recorded yesterday, and I said happy Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday. My days are just off. What else is new? I'm always off. I was working on a wreath earlier, and then I realized that I got the wrong ribbon for it. I wanted the cow print ribbon, but to make things easier, you get the wired ribbon, not just regular ribbon. And so I was having the hardest time making a bow, and I finally gave up. I was so frustrated, and I was getting a bad headache over it, so I had to stop. I just threw it there on the table along with a little cowbell that I got and a cross. Do those things go together? I don't know, but I'm at the point that I don't care. So now, and I was just at the Hobby Lobby again. Now I have to go. I'm just going to go to the Walmart and look for burlap and put that underneath. Wired burlap. You know? And make another bow. Use the burlap and the ribbon on top. It's frustrating. It really is. Speaking of frustration, what I wanted to talk about today was I went to counseling, and we were talking about a certain subject, and then I mentioned, yeah, she's holding him hostage. And then it occurred to me, wait a minute. And then, the counselor responded with, well, she's not over her hurt yet. But at the same time, she's also using it to her advantage. From what you've told me, that she, whenever she needs something, she calls and yada yada, right? Y'all are probably wondering, who is she? Who is he? Who are you talking about? In short, the husband has 3 kids. They're all adults. The youngest one is in her 30s. And, in fact, she just had a birthday again. And, he wasn't in their lives very much. He was always truck driving. His first marriage didn't work out. His spouse cheated on him. And apparently the second child is not his, but he still loves them as his own, which I think it's wonderful. It is a wonderful thing. I don't agree that he had to pay child support, and she got away with it, but I think he should have sued her for all their child support. But it is what it is, My advice is to always get a paternity test. You men out there, don't ever take their word for it. If you are not together anymore, if you know that you can trust your partner and all of a sudden they end up pregnant, I would highly recommend asking for a paternity test. Even if they get offended, it doesn't matter. You don't want to end up paying child support for a child that's not yours. And it happens more than you know. And I'm not being misogynistic, ladies. I can tell you about my little story real quick before I get into my message. My mom had an affair with my dad. On my dad. Let it come out right, Moon. My mom had an affair on my dad, the man that I knew as my father. He's still my father. He will always be my father. She had an affair on him. She got pregnant by her affair. I am the product of that pregnancy. She told my dad that I was his. He was overjoyed. He loved me so much. The 6 years that I was able to have him, because then he passed away. However, imagine if he would have found out that I wasn't his. How would that have turned out, you know? So that's why I'm saying, you know, this is also in protection of my father too. You know, if he was still alive, I would be like, Dad, let's go do it. Let's get our blood work. Let's put this to rest already. Let's see if I'm yours or not for sure, you know? Because I think I am. I have a lot of his physical traits, and a lot of I have mostly my mom's. I think like 90% is my mom and only 10% is his, to be honest. But I still don't know the truth. I will never know the truth unless my siblings finally consent to a blood test with me that we can know for sure, but they don't want to. So there's that. Water break. So he has 2 sons and the daughter that just had a birthday. Now, when he just had her, he was not married to her mother. They were in a relationship for like 2 years, give or take. Didn't work out. They split up. She had the baby. He spent some time with her as a baby, some time with her as a teenager, but he did some things that made her very angry. Nothing of a, not in a, how can I say this? Not in a physical, hurtful way, okay? It was more of, she was really sick one time. She had a really bad fever. Her mom called him to go pick her up from the school, and he didn't want to. He was busy. He said he was busy cooking. So yeah, I completely understand why the daughter would be upset over that. You know, I completely get it. And there were other things that he didn't show up for that he said he would. He was too busy just living the best life, you know, dating different women, getting involved here and there, you know, and he just wasn't down the right path. Here we are years later, and she's back in his life. She has 2 babies now that are his grandkids, and I'm allowed to call them my grandkids too because I asked. And he is really trying to make up for all that lost time, which honestly you can't. And the reason I say that you can't is because there's no way you can go back in time and change what happened. You can only focus on the now and make the future better. You can apologize for the past, but you can't change it. What's done is done. And I say that in my situation as well. So moving on, she's used that to her advantage in some situations where it's like if she needs something for herself or the kids, she will ask for it, and he right away, he's like, I'll get it. Even though we're not financially capable of doing it, but he would rather risk getting behind on a payment than to tell her no, because he doesn't want to upset her in any way and have her out of his life again. So I've had this discussion with him already and everything, and I see him backing away from that because he's realizing, hey, you know, we can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this. You know, we really are behind on this and that, and I don't want to risk our credit's already going to be ruined again. I don't want to risk them coming to take anything from us, you know, like we were doing so well. And I'm like, exactly, thank you, you know. And then, you know, we talked about how, you know, I know that you're trying to make up with her and everything, but honestly, you know, the ball is in her court. You're doing what you can for the babies, for her, I don't think right now there's a limit to that. You know, when is it going to be enough? When is it going to be to her satisfaction, in other words? And I'm not saying that in a mean way. And that's why I want to name this video a hostage situation. Spiritual, correction, a spiritual hostage situation. Because I'm going to put that in my title because I don't want to like mislead anyone and think, oh, what, hostage situation? Oh, it's just clickbait. She's talking about something else. No, this is spiritual. And so when I was talking to my counselor, and I said something like that, yeah, she's holding him hostage, you know, and it occurred to me that how many of us have done that? How many of us have held hostages in our lives, and how many do we have? How many hostages do you have in your life right now where you're holding this person accountable for so much, and you're making sure that they know that you're still upset with them? Yes, you're talking to them, but you're still upset, and they still have a lot of making up to do. And you're going to hold them to it until you feel you're satisfied. It's kind of like forgiveness, but also unforgiveness. And we can't allow that to happen in our lives, because for one, even though we think we're in control of the situation by doing that, by keeping these persons or person as a hostage in our life, it's not really hurting them as much as we think. We are actually putting ourselves in that hostage situation, because we're still a hostage to that unforgiveness. What does the Bible say? When they asked Jesus, Lord, how many times should I forgive them? 7 times? And the Lord says, no. 70 times 70. You don't stop forgiving, ever. Has the Lord ever approached us and said, no, you know what, you messed up today. Yeah, I'm going to hold you to it now. You're just going to have to keep making it up to me. I told you to sin no more. You sinned again today. That's it. You're just going to have to I'll let you know when I'm ready to forgive you. I'll let you know when you've done enough for me. And you're asking, Lord, should I say, like in some religions, 12 Hail Marys, 5 Our Fathers? Would that make you forgive me? No. No, how about making it 50 Hail Marys and 100 Our Fathers? Okay, Lord, I'll do it. Well, then, will that be enough? Will you forgive me then? Well, think about it, because I might just feel different tomorrow. That's what we do with the people in our lives. They upset us, and we're like, you know what? You really upset me. And the other person will apologize sometimes. And you're like, all right, well, I accept your apology. But then you keep them at a distance. You ignore them. You ignore their calls. You ignore their text messages. They invite you somewhere. You don't go. You said you forgave them, but yet you're still holding them accountable for something that they did, that they already apologized for. And even if they didn't apologize, you don't have to hold them accountable. You can still forgive them, not for them, but for you. When I first became born again, one of the things my pastor said, that unforgiveness is like taking the poison but expecting the other person to die. It's not going to happen. You're just poisoning yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit. That's exactly what we're doing when we're taking these hostages in. Pretty soon you're going to run out of room to keep them all. And then what are you going to do with them? You're just going to join them? Can't beat them? Let me just join them. No. You got to release those hostages. Let them go. Not for them, but for you. Let them go. God will take care of them. But don't have that mentality where it's like, well, the Bible also said that vengeance is the Lord. Lord, it says right here, vengeance is yours. Get them, God. You know, get them. They hurt me. Go get them. It doesn't work that way. He will handle them accordingly to the way he sees fit, not the way we see fit. Our job is just to stay focused on him. Let him take care of those little things, because they are little things. I know you have no idea, Moon, what they've done to me. You wouldn't be saying that if you knew that. I understand. I understand more than you know. I've been through a lot in my lifetime. But I call it the little things because there are bigger things to worry about. There's always somebody going through something worse than what you are. And they really don't have anywhere to turn. Or they're lost. So to us, we should see it as the little things and not a big thing. If you still have your health, then you have everything. Somebody upsetting you, somebody hurting you, I know even if it's a big thing, but consider it a little thing, because everything is really small to God. What we make a big thing is really small to him. And I mean that with no disrespect. And I hope that you all will understand that part. I don't want you to think that, you suffered something as a child and then I'm calling it a little thing. No, that's definitely a big thing. That is definitely a big thing, and he sees that. He knows what happened in your life that is big, and he knows what the small things are. And he cares about everything. And I believe that's what he means by the vengeance is his. Not ours, not Moon's. His. And I don't know about you all, but I really don't like carrying people with me. Like, I don't want to be dragging people along with me. Oh, come on, hostages. Let's go. Let's go to the other room now. You're not allowed to leave my life yet. Got a lot of making up to do. No. Just like we don't want to be in shackles either. Just like we don't want to be carrying extra luggage. We want to be free. And when I'm telling you this, I am telling myself this. And one more thing. While I was thinking about all this, I was like, okay, my siblings really hurt me in the worst way possible. And I'm able to finally move on from it and work on that relationship with them, even though they want to still hold me hostage over what my mom's infidelity and other things. And that's not fair for me. But I've decided to just continue to pray about that, because I'm not really sure how to handle that, so I can't really give anybody advice on that when the situation is reversed, when somebody's holding you hostage. I'm going to keep praying about that, and when I do have a message about that, I will go ahead and let you all know, because it's a very difficult predicament to be in when you're trying to establish a relationship again with somebody that's hurt you, and they're just kind of like, oh, okay, and then, like I said, they're just like, nah, I'm still gonna hold you accountable even though you didn't do anything. But what I wanted to say is that with my mom, who passed away in 2020, I went through that stage of grieving where I missed her, and then I went through that stage where I hated everything that she did to me and everything she lied about. And then I realized, can we carry people as hostages that have already passed on? And how gross that is. It really is gross, because you're dealing with dead weight already at that point. And no matter how much you want to hold that person accountable, you really can't change anything anymore. They're gone. You can't talk to them. You can't reestablish that relationship anymore. You're battling yourself at that point. And you're making yourself a hostage with nobody there to really, that's holding you hostage. You're holding yourself hostage. And before I end, I wanted to ask if all of you believers, you Christian believers that are saved again, born again, and the reason I say that is because I've always said be careful on who you have pray with you and come into agreement with you, because there are many people that say, yes, I believe in God, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Protestant. I'm not talking about religion, sorry. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about relationship. I want to know about your relationship with God. Is Jesus your Lord and Savior? That's what I want to know. And if He is, okay, then we can pray together. You can pray for me, I can pray for you. But if not, thank you, but no thank you. And I don't mean to be rude by that, but that's how my faith is. And so I'm asking for agreement and prayer with me for my younger son's father. He is married to a woman who has 3 boys of her own. My son just told me, oh my God, I don't want to cry. My son just told me that her eldest had a really bad drinking problem in his past. And he's still a young man, by the way. I believe he's in his 30s. And he's been diagnosed with cancer. And that is very sad to hear. And I just pray that that cancer will dry up and be no more in his body. Let the blood of Jesus cover him, cover every organ, every vein, every vessel, every artery, cell, from the top of his head to the soles of his feet, front to back, side to side. And I decree and declare that by his stripes he is healed. I have never met this young man. He is my son's stepbrother. But as a human being, to hear of another human being suffering like this, no, it's just, it makes me sad, and nobody deserves that. So, again, you believers out there, if you would just come into agreement with me, I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening, and I hope that I've touched at least one person out there. Thank you so much for listening. Stay in faith, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.